Today I'm here to talk about a civil war. It's a very interesting civil war. All of us have to face it. It doesn't matter which part of the world you live in. It could be in India, Middle East, US. It's a civil war we all face. It's a part of growing up. It's something that even adults face. I call it the mental civil war. It is the war between the need or the desire to achieve our dreams, to achieve success, to achieve our goals and our desires, and the somewhat perceived need to sometimes abandon our morals along the way, abandon our integrity. So before I move on to this discussion, I think there's something we need to settle here. What do we want with life? First thing that we want from life is to achieve our goals and live our dreams. Now, what could such a dream be? What could such a goal be? It's something that really intrigues you more than anything else. It's something that you want more than anything else. For example, what do I want when I grow up? I want to be in a completely jazzy bungalow, the one that you see in the gangster movies. It has to have French windows. It has to have a 72-inch TV on the walls. It has to have a swimming pool in the backyard. And yes, it has to have a Ferrari in the garage, most important. Now, this is what I want at age 17. What will happen when I'm at, say, age 50? Maybe I'll start appreciating the finer things in life. Maybe I'll want to give up all my worldly possessions. Maybe I will become the monk who sold his Ferrari. But no, right now, I want that Ferrari. I have a friend who wants to open a fashion house when she grows up. I also have a friend who's so into computers that he wants a job at Google or Apple. So it depends on what you want from life. Maybe it's something that you want to be, maybe it's an interest that you want to chase and finally culminate in what you see as the epitome of your desire. Second thing that we want from life, to never need to look back with any regret. What is regret? It's not just any sadness that gets dumped upon you. Regret is a sadness that you have because of a bad decision that you may have taken. Nobody wants to look back wondering, okay, maybe I did the wrong thing, maybe I shouldn't have done this, I wouldn't have been in this state because of this. That's a very depressing life. Nobody wants it at any age. So that is regret. So summing these two up, what does everybody finally want from life? So broad generalization, happiness. So to summarize, what is a dream? You can call it a Ferrari, you can call it a fashion house, you can call it a job at Google or Apple. Finally, there is only one basic definition of a dream. Anything that excites you. Now, regrets. There are, like I said, a decision will lead to regret. It's not just any kind of sadness. So, what kind of decisions can lead to regret? First kind of decision, when you don't achieve a dream because of some bad decision you took. What if I have to drive a tractor instead of a Ferrari? Do you think I like that? Of course not. A Ferrari has a certain degree of class to it. What does a tractor have? Noise, ugliness, huge wheels? No. It's about not achieving a dream. Do you really think that a person who wants to chase something all his life will be able to live with himself if he doesn't get that simply because of a decision he took? Second kind of decision, an immorally wrong one. And that's what's going to get me to the topic of integrity. What does an immorally wrong decision do? It makes you challenge what's right within you. It makes you take something like a wrong path to get what you really want. Now after that, you may get what you want or you may not get what you want. But there's something that needs to be accepted. That happiness of getting it, should you get it, will be really short-lived. It's not worth it. I mean, call me preachy, but this is true. The only battles we face in life are the ones with ourselves. We have to live with our actions. We have to live with the consequences of our actions. And you can do as much as you want. Let's say an immorally wrong decision. You can take as many of them as you want. You can think you've got whatever you wanted, but trust me, you've really not got it. Because when you're old enough to understand what you've done, that is assuming that you're doing all of this when you're, say, our age or maybe even 20, 30. When you're old enough to understand what you've done, you won't like it. You won't even want to live with yourself anymore. So now, integrity. What is integrity? It's the lighthouse within us. I call it a lighthouse. Finally, a lighthouse can tell a ship where to go. After that, it's up to the captain of the ship. And your integrity can only tell you what's right. It can tell you what's the correct thing to do. But after that, it's entirely up to you. Do you want to go there? So, I think integrity always wins in the long run. But sometimes there come times when you feel that the morality within you, the right within you needs to be challenged. Sometimes you want to abandon what you think is good to achieve what you may think is something that you want. So, now I come to the point where integrity gets challenged. The glorious trap of instant gratification. This is something that all of us face at our age. What is instant gratification? Now basically, life leaves lots of distractions for us, things that we think we want. Instant gratification is the tendency to fall for those traps. If this is potential and this is achievement, this is instant gratification. It's that pit we all fall in that separates what we can do from what we think we should have been doing. So, a simple example. Let's say you need to study for a test or an exam. You have the entire day ahead of you, but you also have the TV next to you. What should you do? Case 1. You watch TV first and then you do a last minute job of your exam. What most of us do, we can all relate to this feeling. So, what are these kind of people? These are people who are short-sighted. They feel that they will be able to manage it, they're ready to fall for a distraction and think that, okay, we'll still get our goals. Second kind, the nice people who hardly any of us have met, the people who will study first and then reward themselves with TV. Most of us feel that the reward needs to be taken first, so you'll hardly ever meet such kind of people. But these are the people who will actually win in life because they are able to shun out the distractions. They are not victims of instant gratifications, and for the purpose of this talk, I just keep referring to it as IG. So, how do IG infected people relate to dreams and integrity? An IG infected person is short-sighted. An IG infected person cannot resist falling for all those distractions. So, what is an IG infected person ready to do? Drop morality to achieve a dream, because for that person, distractions are a part and parcel of life. You can easily fall for them. Now, another example. Cheating on a test. What do you do when you cheat on a test? You look around, you get a few answers from here and there, and when your marks or your grades finally come in, you're like, my God, I'm such a genius. When you're not. You conveniently forget that you did that. So, next slide. Integrity, once discarded, always discarded. So you may think, okay, what's wrong with cheating on a test? It was just one test. It's not that you're cheating on a test. I mean, cheat on 20 questions for all I care. It's not about the fact that you are cheating. It's about the fact that you're convincing yourself that it is okay to cheat. I mean, call it cheating, call it any other thing that you may do. The underlying principle is the same. The underlying principle is that you can abandon your morals to get where you want to. In other words, integrity, once it's discarded, it's always discarded. It's a domino effect. Once you decide that it is okay to sometimes go wrong to get what you want, you'll always do it. From 3 questions, it'll become 4, 5, 6, and so on. And it's not just about cheating. It's the principle of dropping morality. It's the principle of kissing your integrity goodbye. Alcohol content in hard drinks. Now, this is a small example that I'd like to share. When I was in grade 10, we were having a value education class. And our teacher was discussing how we shouldn't consume alcohol at our age, how it's bad for health, the social problems related to it. And then we went on to alcohol percentage in various drinks. So she said, yeah, shots are very bad, tequila, etc., etc. So she said, yeah, I think beer has 3% alcohol, doesn't it? So then this kid goes, no ma'am, beer has 2.88% alcohol only. So I guess we can drink that. Now look at what's happening here. Fine, maybe your liver will still be happy if you're having beer because it has only 2.88% alcohol. But it is not about beer. Like I said, it's not about cheating on a test. It is not about drinking beer. It is about convincing yourself that you can do something and sometimes compromising with yourself that, okay, fine, maybe I can do this once in a while. Like I said, it's not about what you're doing. It is about the act of what you're doing. It is the principle behind it, convincing yourself that you can do something wrong once in a while. Now, I come to the final part of my talk. It's called lose your integrity, lose your trust, and lose your credibility. What I've said as of now is only about how abandoning your integrity harms you. We talk about people today, we talk about the world, we say people are losing their honesty, people are becoming this, people are becoming that, and nobody has any values anymore, but there are. There is a world today and it's always going to be there. People in the world will always applaud somebody who's ready to be honest, and they're equally ready to verbally bash somebody who's not. So with that, I'm going to come to 2 case studies, 2 examples of 2 companies who faced a situation and what paths they decided to follow. Ford. Now we know that Ford likes to make only 2 things, cars and money. So in 1980 they had a bit of a problem. Their entire set of cars, 21 million of them, across 10 model years had bad reverse gears. And there were reported accidents all over the world. And it's not like this was a very, very major problem. It could have easily been fixed by a mechanic. But what should Ford do? Should they go on producing these cars and not do anything about it, knowing that their consumers will easily go to a mechanic and get it fixed? Or is there something else that they can do? So, you may call this a choice between right and wrong. As far as I'm concerned, Ford did the right thing. the biggest recall in the history of mass production. They recalled all of their 21 million cars across 10 model years and they got them replaced. What does this show? I mean, okay, let's assume that each car costs $100. That's more money than you and I can imagine if we multiply 100 by 21 million, and we all know that a car costs much more. So you can imagine the amount of money they're losing out just to maintain their trust with their consumers. Now imagine that I am a Ford consumer. What kind of an experience do I walk away with? I know that Ford will always give me a good car, and if for some reason, just for some reason, I don't have a good car, I will not be treated like garbage. Ford will compensate. Ford will always make sure that I remain happy. So look at what happened here. Although Ford initially faced a failure, although as a consumer I may have been dissatisfied. I mean, of course I want my car to function properly, don't I? But in the long term, my trust with Ford remains intact. I know that they are people who I can interact with again in a business agreement, because I will be treated well. It's about maintaining trust, and which brings me to the principle behind this. It's like a one-liner. If you value your integrity, people value you. Now, the second case, and this very recent one, we've all heard of it. Another company. It's a company that rolls in money. It's a company whose gadgets are sought after the world over. It's a company for whose gadgets will even go broke just to own them. And what did they do? That is what they did. Now, no, 1 minute. I'm not naming anybody at all. Change it. Again. Peace. I have not named anybody. So please, if you guys have figured out who I'm talking about, shh. So what did these guys do? They produced an entire line of phones. I'm not naming the phone again. They produced an entire line of phones that was bending in people's pockets. Why would I want a phone that bends? LCD TVs bend, that's a new trend. You can't have phones bending, that's wrong. Why would I want to sit down for a long time or walk around and then go, okay, let me check my messages. Yeah. No. And imagine how much you spend for that. I mean, of course you've all heard the joke, selling your kidneys to buy this phone. You don't sell your kidneys to get a phone that bends. That's wrong. So again, now look at a company whose inertia of success was not able to sustain it. And I'd like to draw your attention to my hypocrisy over here. This entire presentation that I've made was created on a computer that's made by these guys. Again, not naming the computer. And I drool over that computer. I love it. And look at how I'm standing on stage today and verbally bashing their phone. Do you see this? How their success, how my perceived notion of how they're completely awesome can fall within seconds. How their decision to abandon their integrity and not even give a public statement about this, mind you, is ready to make me lose all my faith in them within seconds. Even if they improve after that, let's say they launch their next phone, call it the 7th model of the current phone. Let's say that gets launched and that doesn't bend. The story of this phone is going to stay with them for life. It's never going to leave them at all. Now, had they done something like Ford had, maybe I could have been like, okay, so they're ready to learn from their mistakes. They're ready to rectify, change things. So, the next one-liner. No matter how successful you are, if you lose your integrity, people lose their faith in you. So, come to people. Your own loss of integrity can damage you. Now, come to the world. Your loss of integrity to achieve that short-term goal can damage you in terms of what the world perceives of you. So in the long run, at least that's what I feel. Integrity always holds you in good stead. So I hope I've been able to bring my message across today. Thank you so much.